What has this year made you learn about yourself? I can do stuff if I really focused on it. And that my loneliness is something I can control and not caused by my parents' upbringing. That's great. Teach me that I'm not that into dating and don't really have romantic feelings for anybody that much. I've just been chilling out at home and haven't even missed being around a woman. Instead, I've come to understand how much I hurt myself trying to facilitate close connections with people who didn't want to have them with me. For the most part, especially thanks to the sheer drama of the pandemic, I realized I view most people in a very dim, dispassionate manner. All of this quarantine time has helped me to understand some of the perks of being alone, and it no longer gnaws at me like it did in the past. I've also learned that despite these realizations, I have a surprising passion for candy making. Last night alone I just made stained glass lollipops for the first time, then took the beginning to overcook / brown syrup and made salted caramel sauce to salvage it before it was ruined. It's definitely a hobby I want to keep up. Aromantic, it showed me how fast life can actually be over. Many people died around me. My dad died a few weeks ago. This year showed me how expensive and fragile life is. I'm sorry to hear that. I hope you and your family are doing okay. I often take solace in the insignificance of life, but it's times like these we can't help but just appreciate how damn incredible it is. I like people more than I thought I did, and I will be saying yes to more invitation when it's over. I've been surprised by how much I miss casual acquaintances, like the dudes in my cycling club and the Friday group down at the aquarium. We weren't close, I never saw any of them outside of riding or volunteering. But I really miss the feeling of clipping in and heading out on the road at dawn with the group, or walking into the break room and just chatting about the crowd today. OMG, yes. Normally I refrain from hugs. But when all of this is over, all my friends are getting the biggest hug I'll ever give them. I miss them all. Frown. That I really hate household chores and I am a bad cook. I started this year literally screaming at my dishes to wash themselves. The past 2 weeks though I've managed to stay on top of it. It's literally taken me a year to learn how to do the dishes. I feel ya bro, you got this. The trick is to clean as you cook. If there's multiple stages of cooking involved, wash a few dishes in the waiting period. Right before you eat, give your food a second to cool and coagulate, by knocking out the rest of the dishes. Then when you're done eating, all you have left is the dishes you used to eat with. That my lifestyle is almost identical to a quarantine. Same besides a few outings I'd normally do, I basically have the same lifestyle. Instead of pathetic losers, now we are responsible citizens. It's not that I'm lonely, it's just that I'm unhappy. That's a hard realization to make, but it sounds like progress. That I'm pretty fucking awesome. Hell yeah you are. I should appreciate essential workers more. I'm a nurse, but holy fuck do I appreciate grocery workers, mechanics, mail carriers, and everyone in a sector that a Karen will ask for your manager. My parents were essential workers, grocery and garbage workers. I was embarrassed to tell people growing up. Now I wear that with pride because they worked so damn hard to raise me and my siblings. Absolutely. Props to your parents, it's people like them that keep society running and they deserve so much more than they get. Given to opportunity, I will become an overweight alcoholic. I'm losing weight, which is bad, but yes, working from home makes it way too easy to drink more, never while working though. That I fucking hate the public with a burning passion. We've seen so much this year that has really tested our faith in humanity. Some people are just appalling. Selfish pricks don't believe in COVID is a real thing and think it's okay to stand very close to you without a mask and cough without covering their mouths. People like this is the reason why we have this second national lockdown. Fuck these clowns, man. That I'm a lot closer to the edge than I thought. I think we all are, but we just don't realize it. That suicidal thoughts feed of loneliness and can creep in faster than I thought. I gave in and attempted. Don't do it. The fallout is even worse. It's incredibly painful to see how much it hurts everyone around you. I thought no one would care and I was doing them a favor. Wrong. People care so much more than you think. Do not let that voice take control. Fight back. I touch my face a lot. Same. Having to do all of our meetings with webcams on has made me realize this. I've worked from home forever, but we almost never used our webcams before. Now we have to all the time. I've also learned that my mouth looks really weird when I talk, almost like I'm not opening it, so now I started paying attention to that and it's driving me nuts. It's like having a bad song stuck in my head. I'm sure nobody else notices, but if I watch a recording back or even glance at myself on the screen when I'm doing a presentation, I cringe because I find it so awful. I try super hard to never look at myself in meetings, lol. That commuting to work is a major cause of me taking medical leaves. Lockdown seems to have improved my physical health. Even lost some weight. But while working from home has its perks, there are some days when I wish I could go back to the office. Got the long end of the stick. Being an R&D electronics person of the company, I'm pretty much the only non-production person allowed to be in the office. Empty office is fucking great to work, blast music, fart whenever you feel like it, no one bothering you. 10/10 would recommend. That even though I can normally meet my friends only a few times a year, I really need those few times. Just because I theoretically understood what issues I have and where they come from, doesn't mean that I have solved them. There's a big fucking difference between the time I need to figure that shit out and the time it takes to actually make progress. Patience and acceptance are seemingly worth more than insight and great revelations. I want to have a career in music, and not being able to perform made me realize that. Smile. My SO is a sound engineer and this year has destroyed his work. It's also something that brings him immense joy doing, so it's been a depressing year for him. I'm so sorry you're unable to perform due to this year. Frown. Have you tried live streaming? Best wishes, friend. Streaming would be a good idea, but I'm not an adult yet, by a few months, so I don't know if that's allowed and stuff. That I'm very fragile. But not that Fargile runs naked into the rain. By choice or by necessity, that I really was a scumbag. 2020 is actually my favorite year, even with shit happening. I got to work on myself and personality and I suddenly became the cool kid. A lot of time to reflect on myself this year and learning what's helping me and what's hurting me. That people actually like me and don't just get annoyed because of me every time I speak to them. Hello anxiety, my old friend. You're absolutely bloody right, they like you. You're great, who wouldn't like you? There is such a thing as spending too much time with your family. Or too little. I miss being able to visit family on the weekend. Same here. Both my parents have been staying safe and limiting how much my sister and I can visit them. I stayed with my mom for a week in the summer only because I had to get my wisdom teeth out. Other than that, no Thanksgiving or Christmas with either of my parents this year. It's definitely more lonesome. Deleted. Sending strength. You've got this. That I'm not introverted enough to basically stay in isolation for 6 months and still feel fine about it. I may hate commuting and open offices and being around people a lot, but I guess I still need at least some social contact. Yeah, if you asked me before the pandemic, I would tell you I prefer being indoors, but the lockdowns have really showed me how incorrect that is. I have about 2 good friends. I enjoy being alone, but if I didn't go on a walk with at least one of them twice a week, I would feel so alone. Who are you supposed to bitch about a husband and teenager to? If I didn't get those walks with my only friends, I would go crazy, especially having a teen going through the weirdest/worst first year of high school ever. I get bored of things really quickly. I must have cycled through the same 4 or 5 console games at least 4 times throughout the pandemic. I've been struggling to finish books. I used to love watching movies and now I barely watch one every week. I'm like this. I'll be heavily invested in something, spending hours on it in one sitting and then not touch it again for ages. It's really not that useful a trait, lol. That I need to stop trying to help people who won't help themselves. I've landed myself in some sticky situations over the years, but nothing comes close to the situation I've gotten myself into this time. I learned that this year too. No matter how much you want to help someone, if they don't want to change or don't think they need to, nothing you do will actually help. In fact, they're more likely to pull you down with them. That human contact, like a hug, is fucking important. That everyone around you is also struggling with problems, and being kind sometimes has a profound impact on people's lives. And that people act like a bunch of fucknuts when an epidemic spreads. I wish I had an award to give you. Or I wish I could hug you. This is exactly what I wanted to say. How much of a chunk of my money I spend on recreational pursuits. Without that avenue available, my bank account has swelled. However, spending months upon months alone has made days meaningless. They all just blur together. I often don't know what day of the week it is. Was it yesterday or last week? I don't know. Everything is a blur, which means time is both incredibly slow and way too fast. Seriously, this year has felt like 5 years long, but it's also flying by. It's weird that I don't really have hobbies/passions. I thought with all the extra time I'd end up doing more, but I did even less than usual. This is weird extra time though. It's kinda sticky like honey and slows you down whilst everything else keeps moving. There are lots of things, just pick a thing and give it a go. Don't worry too much about whether you'll do it again or whether you'll be any good at it. That's actually great advice, thanks. And happy Cake Day. I've got a lot of love to give and no one to give it to. Make sure you are giving some of that love to yourself.